They say you get what you pay for. The house was a steal, an old Victorian mansion on the outskirts of town, practically given away. I should have known there was a catch. The real estate agent, a woman with a smile that never quite reached her eyes, mentioned the previous owners left in a hurry. She called it a motivated seller situation. I called it a red flag, but the price was too good to ignore. The first week was bliss. I spent my days unpacking, exploring the labyrinth of rooms, feeling like the king of my own castle. The house was filled with old, ornate furniture, including a surprising number of large, gilded mirrors. They were in every room, even the hallways. A bit much, but I figured it was just old-fashioned decor. The first time it happened, I was in the master bathroom, brushing my teeth. I glanced up at my reflection in the medicine cabinet mirror. Behind me, standing by the door, was a tall, shadowy figure. I spun around, heart hammering against my ribs. Nothing, just an empty doorway. I laughed it off, shaking my head. I was tired, my mind was playing tricks on me. It had to be. But it happened again. In the hallway mirror, the same dark shape lurked in the periphery. I'd turn, and it would be gone. It happened in the dining room. Its reflection caught in the polished surface of the unlit chandelier. In the bedroom, in the full-length mirror on the wardrobe door. Always behind me. Always just out of sight when I turned. I started to get paranoid. I avoided looking in the mirrors. I'd wash my face with my eyes closed. I'd dress in the dark. But the house was full of reflective surfaces. A darkened window pane, the screen of my turned-off TV, even a spoon on the kitchen counter. Every time, the same silent sentinel stood behind me in the reflection. It never moved, never made a sound. It just watched. One night, I couldn't take it anymore. I had to know what it was. Armed with a heavy fireplace poker, I stood in the grand foyer, my back to the largest mirror in the house. I took a deep breath, my hands slick with sweat. I could feel its presence, a cold spot in the air behind me. My reflection stared back, wide-eyed and terrified. And there it was, behind my reflected self. A tall, gaunt figure, its face a blur of shadow, its form indistinct, like smoke. I didn't turn around. Not this time. My eyes were locked on the reflection. I watched as the thing in the mirror slowly, so slowly, raised a long, thin hand. It wasn't reaching for me. It was reaching for my reflection. Its shadowy fingers drifted forward, passing through the air behind my mirrored self. My heart stopped. The figure's hand touched my reflection's shoulder. I watched, frozen in horror, as my own mirrored face twisted in a silent scream. The eyes in the reflection widened, not with my fear, but with a new, alien terror. And then, my reflection began to pull away, struggling against the shadowy hand that held it fast. It was then I understood. The thing in the mirror wasn't behind me. It had never been behind me in the room. It was behind my reflection, trapped in the mirror world with it. All this time, it wasn't me who was being haunted. It was my other self, the one living on the other side of the glass. And every time I looked in a mirror, I was forcing him to face his tormentor. I stumbled back from the mirror, my breath coming in ragged gasps. I ran through the house, but I couldn't escape the reflections. In every shiny surface, I saw the struggle. My other self, forever trapped, forever watched by the thing in the dark. I had to get out. I grabbed my keys and fled, not even bothering to lock the door. As I slammed the car door shut, I caught my face in the rearview mirror. My eyes were wide with fright. But behind my reflection, the shadowy figure was still there. And this time, it was smiling. I don't look in mirrors anymore. I can't. Because I know he's still in there. And I know he's not alone. And I'm the one who keeps showing him the monster. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more chilling tales. See you next time. The first night it happened, I dismissed it as a mouse. A faint, rhythmic scratching coming from the wall beside my bed. Scritch, scritch, pause. Scritch, scritch, pause. Annoying, sure, but I live in an old house. Old houses have pests. I rolled over, pulled the pillow over my head, and eventually drifted back to sleep. The second night, it was louder. The sound wasn't just faint anymore. It was insistent. Scritch, scritch, scritch. No pause this time. It sounded bigger than a mouse. A rat, maybe? I banged my fist against the drywall. The noise stopped, but only for a moment. Then it started again, faster, more frantic, as if my protest had only angered it. Sleep was a long time coming that night. By the third night, I was dreading sundown. I bought traps, poison, everything the hardware store recommended. I set them all around the bedroom, feeling a little foolish, but desperate. As the house fell silent, I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, listening. And then it began. Scritch, scrape, scritch. It wasn't just by my bed anymore. It sounded like it was moving, tracing the perimeter of the room, just behind the plaster. My blood ran cold. This was no rat. The sound was too deliberate, too methodical. On the fourth night, I decided to record it. I propped my phone against the wall, started a voice memo, and waited. The scratching started on schedule, and this time, there was something else. A low, guttural whisper tangled within the scraping. It was too faint to make out any words, but it was there. A voice. A human-sounding voice, raspy and dry, coming from inside my wall. I grabbed my phone and fled the room, sleeping on the couch with every light in the house burning. The next morning, I checked the traps. All of them were untouched. The poison hadn't been touched either. It was as if nothing had been there at all. But I had the recording. I put my headphones on, turned the volume all the way up, and listened. There was the scratching, clear as day. But the voice, it was gone. I listened again and again, scrubbing back and forth. Nothing. Just the endless, maddening scratching. That night, I didn't even try to sleep. I sat in a chair facing the wall, a heavy flashlight in my hand. The scratching started, louder than ever before. It sounded like claws, long and sharp, tearing at the wood and insulation. The scraping moved, right to the spot directly in front of me. It stopped. Silence. My heart hammered against my ribs. And then, a single, hard knock from the other side. My side. I flinched back, my breath catching in my throat. Then another knock, and another. Knock. 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 It wasn't random. It was a pattern. The pattern I used to knock on my parents' bedroom door when I was a child and had a nightmare. A pattern only 3 people in the world would know. My parents are long gone. And I'm the third. The knocking stopped, replaced by that dry, whispering voice, clearer this time. It wasn't just a whisper. It was a name. My name. Over and over again. Yesterday, I bought a sledgehammer. I can't live like this anymore. I have to know what's in there. The scratching has started again, and the whispering is louder now, like it knows I'm coming. It almost sounds like it's encouraging me. I'm standing in front of the wall right now. I can feel a strange coldness radiating from it. The whispering is right on the other side. I'm going to turn this camera off. I'm going to swing. I have to see what's inside my walls. I have to.
It started subtly, a faint scuff on the pavement behind me as I walked home late one evening. I turned, saw the empty street bathed in the orange glow of street lights, and thought nothing of it. Just the city settling for the night. The next day, it happened again. This time, a clear, distinct footstep, heavy, like a man's work boot hitting the concrete. I spun around, my heart thumping. Nothing, just my own elongated shadow stretching out before me. I tried to rationalize it, an echo, a trick of the wind. But the sound was too specific, too close. It began to follow me everywhere. The soft crunch of leaves in the park when I was the only one on the path. The squeak of a floorboard in my own apartment, right behind me, when I knew for a fact every door was locked and bolted. I started walking faster, my keys clutched between my knuckles. I'd take different routes home, dart into shops just to see if someone was tailing me. The streets were always empty. The shops were always quiet, but the footsteps remained. My ears were always pricked, waiting. The footsteps grew bolder. Sometimes they would match my pace, a perfect, chilling synchronization. Step for step, a phantom twin walking in my shadow. Other times, they would lag behind, a slow, deliberate tread that felt like a predator stalking its prey. I'd stop dead in my tracks, holding my breath. The footsteps would stop too, a beat after mine, as if waiting for me to move again. The silence that followed was somehow more terrifying than the sound itself. I started talking to myself, whispering who's there, into the empty air. I even tried running. I'd sprint down the block, my lungs burning, my own frantic footsteps a drumbeat of panic. And I'd hear them, impossibly, keeping pace right behind me, never getting closer, never falling further behind. It felt like they weren't following me, but were attached to me, a part of me. One night, exhausted and terrified, I was in my bathroom, staring at my reflection. My face was pale, my eyes wide with a fear that had become permanently etched there. The apartment was dead silent. I leaned closer to the mirror, my breath fogging the glass. And then I heard it. I stared at my own reflection, at my own feet planted firmly on the tile. And I watched in horror as the reflection of my own feet began to move, stepping out of sync with my own, walking in place, forever following. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more.